Share my link. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's been a little minute since I've been on, but I have been living, striving, and thriving to live, to do the saith the Lord. But this morning, I read something about being brutally honest with yourself. And sometimes we have to be brutal with ourselves. We have to do something to shake us, to move us. Good morning, Sean. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. And we have to be brutally honest with ourselves sometimes. We have to, since we be hard on ourselves about everything else, if you're not honest with yourself, who else can you honestly be honest with? God see everything, God know everything, and if you cannot be honest with yourself, tell me then who exactly can you be honest with? I'm great. How are you? I've been, girl, I have been I'm gonna say I've been good. I've been doing more than surviving. I'm doing good. I am doing good. God is good. God is amazing. God is awesome. God is just God, all by himself. And this morning, doing some reading, and I came across this post where it was saying brutal, brutal rules or something, but I titled it different because I wrote it down because it just hit me so hard as I was reading it. And as I was reading it, it began to make more and more sense. I'm doing laundry, so this is how I look. It's early here. Well, it's not that early, it's 10 o'clock. And I just titled it, Sometimes We Have to Be Brutal with Ourselves. We have to face hard reality, sometimes harsh realities, because if we don't, we'll be tossed to and fro like a ship out there, without a sail, just being tossed anywhere. So as I was reading this, I read it, then I started writing, and then I started thinking, and I was saying, you know what? This is so true. And then the Holy Spirit placed on my heart to just come on and just speak about it. And maybe somebody come up, and then maybe somebody would see it later. And first it said, stop expecting people to think like you. How do you expect people to think like you when they are not you? Sometimes we will have similar thoughts, but nobody thinks the same thing as you think. And stop our expectations. Stop having so many expectations in people. I have learned that, and I am learning that. And I have come to the conclusion whatever a person do, that's what I expect them to do. I don't expect them to do anything other than the things that they do. So stop expecting people to think like you do, because they're not you, and they are not going to think like you. We may have similar thoughts, but no two people think the same thing at the same time. We may look at each other and say, I was I had similar thoughts. So just stop it. Stop expecting people to be where you are. Stop expecting people to think like you think. Stop expecting people to feel the way that you feel, because you're setting yourself up for a great disappointment. And you know what? Walk away the first time you feel disrespected. See, a person feel like they can disrespect you more than one time because you allowing that. If they disrespected you one time and you didn't say nothing, you didn't do nothing, you didn't walk away, you didn't put a stop to it, they think, okay, I can do this. And they're going to continue to disrespect you. So walk away the first time you feel disrespected, regardless of who it is. Walk away. Walk, give yourself time out before you respond to anything that anybody say. And this one really got me. It said, fix your sleep before fixing your life. Because, and I thought about it and I said, if you do not have a good night's sleep, you are absolutely no good the next day. And you're mean, you're rude. But once you fix your sleep, and you can fix your sleep, then you can fix your life. Because I'm telling you, fixing your sleep is a hard thing to do. If you're tossing and turning and you're worried about your issues and the situations and the children and the bills and this and that, and you're tossing and turning all night long and they get no sleep, fix your sleep then before you fix your life. And don't argue with people who enjoy chaos. There are some people who love not it's not that they love to argue, they love to see things that's not thriving. They love to see you in a discombobulated state. They love to see you all torn apart. They just love to see you all mixed up and torn up. Don't argue with them type of people, because you're gonna wear yourself out, because this is foreplay for them. Don't do that to yourself. Don't argue with people who enjoy chaos. Say what you got to say, let it be said, and then let it be done, and walk away. Leave it alone, walk away. All that backwards and forward, going with people and stuff like that, you'll wear yourself out, because that's what some people enjoy. That's just like foreplay for them. So stop, don't do it. And most problems, and I this one really got me, and I put a pin in this one as well. Most problems shrink once you stop reacting fast. And sometimes, and I was that type of person. Whatever was on my mind came out of my mouth, and I didn't care who got hit by a stray. I didn't care who got hit by a stray. And then I thought about it. Then when we got sometimes when I have a problem, I want to rush in and try to fix it. But no, most problems shrink once you stop reacting fast. And the first thing you want to do when something pop up, you want to get nervous, you want to get scared, then you want to like almost give up. No, no, no. Stop reacting to it really fast, quick. Sit down, assess the situation, and then lay it all out there on the table, and then you could kind of put the puzzle pieces where they need to go, and then you'll start seeing the problem that you thought was a problem is actually not a problem at all. It just needed some redirection. So remember, most problems shrink once you start reacting fast. And I don't have my teeth in my mouth this morning, so my words might be a little whatever. You ruin your peace by explaining too much. You ruin your peace by explaining too much. See, my word, when I say something, that's it. I have learned, and I am learning. I don't have to explain anything to anybody. And if you don't get it when I'm saying something, go and ask somebody who got it. While you driving, you might get it on your way home. You might get it on your way to the parking lot. You may get it shortly. But when I say something one time, I don't have to explain myself. When we realize we don't have to explain anything to anybody, that's where you start ruining your own peace by explaining things to people. Well, why you did that, I don't have to explain it. Well, why you said that, I don't have to explain it. Everything understood don't need to be explained. I don't have to give you an explanation as to why I do anything. I'm not gonna be upset myself trying to explain something to people who don't want to get it, who don't want to understand you. You're making yourself crazy by keep trying to explain when people purposely don't want to get it, when people purposely don't want to understand you. Stop explaining, because it drains you. And I'm gonna get to that. It drains you. And your habits are more honest than your intentions. And I had to stop and think about that one. And it said, your habits are more honest than your intentions. And the way that I perceive this to be is you can have good intentions, but your habits are showing something absolutely different. A habit is something that you repeatedly do over and over and over and over. But you say, but I have good intentions, but your habit's not showing that. Better late than never, Sean. I'm learning that now. Your habits are more honest than your intentions. Because if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, that means you intend to do that. So you be saying, well, that wasn't my intentions, but that's not what you were showing. That's not what you were showing me. And by you showing me through your habits, now I got a better understanding. And you don't have to explain it to me at all because I already know. I already got it. If it drains you, it's already a warning. If something is draining you, if it's work, if it's you keep repeating the same thing over and over, if something is draining you, if someone is making you tired, when you talk to somebody on the phone, you got to stretch, you scratch your head when you finish talking to them, you're tired when you're talking to them, that's draining. And that's a warning sign that that person is not your person. That person is not who you thought that that person is because it's just draining being around that person. And you drain about you worried about an issue, you worried about a problem, and it's draining you. You cannot resolve anything being drained because anything draining it is bringing you down. When you take the cork out of your sink when you're washing dishes and everything start draining, it's bringing you down. The water is going down, it's not coming up, it's going down. So when you if something is draining you, if someone is draining you, they're bringing you down. They're not elevating you, they're not exalting you, they're bringing you down. So if it drains you, it's already a warning. You already been warned with the first sign of being drained. When you got off the phone, you said, "Oh my God. Oh, that phone call, it just took me out. It just took me out." And I've had a couple of those. I've had a couple of those. And people treat you based on what you allow. If you allow a person to disrespect you, if you allow a person to walk all over you, if you allow a person to talk all over you when you're talking, you and don't put a stop to that. You People treat you the way you allow them to treat you. I do not allow nobody to treat. If I feel like I'm being disrespected, the first thing I'm gonna do is let you know. First of all, you're not gonna disrespect me. Second of all, you're not gonna talk to me any kind of way. But by talking to me any kind of way is being disrespectful. By treating me differently, by treating me a way that's making me feel uncomfortable, that's being disrespectful. And I'm not gonna let a person treat me any kind of way. I'm not going to let them say anything they want to say to me. So when you let people treat you any kind of way, when they talk to you any kind of way, and if you allow people to keep making you feel like you ain't worth nothing, that you allow that. You allow that. When you stop allowing it and voice your opinion about things and just don't go along with things because I don't want to cause no problem. I don't want to cause. I'm a cause a problem. I'm gonna cause a problem because, like I said, you ain't gonna treat me any kind of way, and you ain't gonna say what you want to say to me. I just wasn't raised like that, and I wasn't built like that. And your future depends on what you do daily. If you don't do nothing daily, don't expect nothing. But if you are like daily, you go to work. Then sometimes you have to. I asked myself one time, why am I just working like this? Just to pay bills, not to have no fun. And then I decided every 3 weeks that I work, that last week in the month, I'm not just going to be working to pay bills. I'm going to enjoy some of the fruits of my labor. So every weekend, once a month, the last of the month, I would schedule myself 4 days out, Friday, Saturday. I didn't work on Sunday, so it was like Friday, schedule myself. If I didn't, I scheduled myself a Saturday, didn't work on Sunday, and schedule myself Monday off. So I could go and visit friends, so I could go and go to Tampa, go wherever I'm gonna go and just hang out and enjoy the fruits of my labor. So your future depends on what you do daily. If you don't do nothing daily, don't expect nothing. That's just like if you don't put nothing in the bank, what you gonna go in there, put a card in the ATM and expecting to get something out when you ain't putting nothing in? And that like you working. If what are you working for? Only to pay bills? And if you put something away in your 401 for your retirement, what are your goals? What are your life goals? When I retire, I want to do this. I'm working and saving some money, so I want to take this grand trip. I want to go to Dubai. I want to go to Spain. I want to go to Germany. I want to go to France. What are you working for? Always work towards something. Work towards whatever it is that you want in your future. Just don't work to pay the bills and buy you the nicest clothes. Those are necessities. You got to have the clothes. You got to have food, clothing, and shelter. Those are the necessities of life. But what else are you working on? So your future depends on what you do daily. Whatever it is you do, if you pray daily, God will show you. When you're praying, it may not come to you right then, but then again, it may come to you right then. When you praying and holding on to God's unchanging hand, soon, and you do this every day, all day, 24/7, soon and very soon, God is going to show up and God is going to show out. Because I'm telling y'all, I've been praying and I've been expecting for God to do something mighty, mighty in my life. And I'm gonna keep on praying about it because my future depends on it. Not only my future, but the future of my children and my grandchildren depend on it. So your future depends on what you do daily. And it says not everyone deserve access to you. Not everybody have the right to talk to you, to be around you. Everybody you know don't have that right. People who done mistreated you, people who done talked about you, people who done put you down, people who done tried to stop your flow, tried to stop your progress, they don't deserve to have that access to you. Access denied. And I don't, we're gonna sometimes you have to have enough nerves to tell people I no longer fit you. And it's not, I no longer have need for you, but sometimes we can outgrow people. And sometimes people could have mistreated you so much and thinking it's okay, and then thinking they could still come around, they say things and they do things, and they still think they could come borrow, let me borrow this from you, and I'm gonna pay you back when I get paid. And if you don't say nothing, they don't say nothing, and then they come right back around again. No, you done burnt me too many times. So access denied. Access is denied. And this one right here spoke volumes. Silence exposes truth better than confrontation. Silence exposes truth better than confrontation. Sometimes being silence speaks volumes. Silence speaks more than words sometimes. Being silent exposes a lot. Being quiet, being still, and being quiet and just watch and observe, boy, you will learn a lot. You will learn a lot because everything you want to say don't need to be said. Don't need to be said. And sometimes it's hard to be silent. Sometimes it's hard to be silent. But I tell you, silence, when they say silence is golden, silence is platinum. Silence is platinum because it will make people, expose themselves. It will make people expose themselves. So if you got a situation right now and you don't know what to do about it, don't do nothing about it. Be still, be quiet, be silent. I have been seeing lately in like these little inspirational things that come up about you're gonna get this big blessing, but be quiet. And every time and lately I've been finding things have been good things have been happening and I've been quiet about it. I be want to say something, but I'm being quiet about it. I'm being quiet. I hadn't talked to my ex-husband in since 2016. The last time I spoke to my ex-husband was in 2016. Sunday, I get home Sunday and I get my daughter do meal prep for herself. So she made a whole lot. She said, Mama, bring you some. So I said, okay. So when she came, she just dropped it off and left. So by the time I got back upstairs, my phone was ringing. So I seen the number and I don't answer phone calls if they don't have a name. I don't answer the phone call. So it was in an area code here in Florida, and I'm saying, wait a minute. Okay, some say answer the phone. So I answered the phone. And so the person, we just said, hello, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? By the way, who am I speaking with? Oh, you don't know me? No. Who am I speaking with? This your husband. Then I'm saying, this your ex-husband. I go, oh, hey, how you doing? And it, he began to tell me some things and, you know, um, ask for forgiveness about some things. And I'm scratching my head. I'm saying, Lord, why is this man calling me now? After almost 10 years, we have not had a conversation. And every now and then I would try to reach out to him and stuff like that. And this man said something to me. He said, Marita, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't have the things that I have now. And I would not be living the way that I'm living. And I've been searching for you for he said, for the last year, I have been thinking about you so much. You have been so heavy on my mind. And I'm saying, well, how did you get my phone number? I'm asking him all of these questions and he's telling me how he got my phone number, how he reached out to he got go through this search and they tell you the phone number where you live and all that. So I'm saying, well, dang. So he said, I call your daughter and your daughter and I talked and she said, you was married to my mama one time, right? My Verena was a little girl. And he said, yeah. And she said, my mama, she enjoyed talking to you. And I understood where our disconnect was because of the things how I was living and stuff like that. And it wasn't, he didn't like it, but anytime I needed him, he was always there for me. And he said, Marita, regardless of whatever came while we stopped talking, he said, I owe you a lot. I owe you a lot. So we talked, and I don't know what is going to happen with that because I know his wife and me and the wife, we're close. He always tell me, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. My son wouldn't be here. None of my family would be here if it wasn't for you. So sometimes, you know, and I told him I called you a couple of times. I called your office a couple of times, and apparently they didn't relay the message. So you know what? I just stopped. I went dead silence. I went radio silence. I went silence like when the lights are off and the TV can't be on. I went silent. So silence is golden, and if whatever is for you is for you. And if somebody want somebody, um, they will expose themselves. They expose themselves. Only you got to be quiet, and be still. Be quiet and be still. And if you don't choose your priorities, somebody else will. Somebody is. You have to prioritize what is a priority for you. You don't allow nobody to arrange your life to fit them. You arrange your own life to fit you. Whatever is a priority for you is a priority for you. So you have to prioritize what is a priority for you. And only you know that. Don't leave your well being up to nobody because they're not going to treat you the way you treat you, and they're not going to do for you the way that you do for you. And not every, okay, and if you choose, okay, comfort. This one right here, I stuck a pin in this one too. Comfort is the biggest enemy of growth. Sometimes we get too comfortable on these jobs. Sometimes we get too comfortable with the relationship. Sometimes we get too comfortable and complacent. You could be satisfied, you could be content, but don't get complacent. Don't take things for granted. Taking things for granted is mean don't get too comfortable. You get too comfortable on these jobs because you've been on this job 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and you think you can act a certain way, that you could be a certain way, and the people let you know they'll bring you back down to earth. They'll make you. They'll put you in your place, and you've been on this job for 40 years, and you then all of a sudden you would say, "I never thought that would have happened to me." Never get too comfortable in a situation. Never get comfortable in a relationship. Don't get too comfortable on these jobs. I don't care how good you are on the job. Comfort is the biggest enemy. It stops your growth. Because if you're comfortable in this position, because I know all the ins and outs about this position, when I was working at Publix, even though I knew how to do cashiering, I wanted to learn about produce. I wanted to learn, I already knew how to merchandise. I know how to merchandise stuff on the shelf. I knew how to move things around on the shelf, outdated stuff, you take it down, you know. And the deli, I never worked in the deli before. And so when I started working I always wanted to on it when I was working at Joann's, I was on the task team, Joann Fabric. So I knew how to cut fabric. I knew how to cut fabric. Um how to I knew the feel, the texture of fabric. I knew what thread to use with what fabric. I wanted to know everything. I wanted to know everything I could learn about a little bit of everything. Satin fabric? What was the best thread for satin fabric? What was the best thread for mending jeans? What was the best thread for cotton? What was the best thread for nylon and polyester? And what is the best thread for upholstery when you're upholstering your chairs and stuff like that? When you're making couch covers, when you're making pillows, because if you use the wrong thread, it can either pop or it can start ripping apart your fabric. And I learned a lot when I was at Joann. So when I started working at Publix, and that was the only place they were hiring was in the deli. Then I learned that I want to know about cheeses. What fruit go best with what cheese? What wine go best with what cheese? You can. I learned a whole lot about cheese. I learned that Havarti cheese and those little green grapes, Havarti cheese, those green grapes, and a good Chardonnay is a good combination. I learned about I learned so much about Gouda. Uh, that's a good cheese, and people would buy it and eat it, and I would say, well, let me just try smoked Gouda. That's a good cheese. I learned what wine go with smoked Gouda. I learned what cracker that tastes good. You know, if you don't get out of your element, there is no growth. And when you're so comfortable that you don't want to learn nothing else, you're going to stay stagnant, and things are going to start becoming dull and dreary and stale. So don't let comfort be your biggest enemy. Don't let comfort be your biggest enemy. And this one, change is painful only until you start. You can say you want to do, but until you do, you'll never know. Because we don't like change. And I always say, and I learned in the rehab when I was in rehab, If nothing changes, nothing change. And the only way something is going to be different, it has to change, and that change has to be with you. Yeah, it might be a little painful to start over. Yeah, it might be a little painful to start doing something different and to restructure your thinking and restructure your heart posture and your mind posture. It may be a little painful because there are some things that you're going to have to let go of. There's going to be some people that you're going to have to let go of, and it's painful when you have to drop a friendship. It's painful, which change is painful. But once you start, you'll see it's just like being in labor. When them labor pains be hitting you, oh, it hurts so bad, so bad, so bad. But then once that baby come, you don't unless you had a cesarean, you know, that's you still have a little pain, you might still have a little tenderness down there, but after that baby that came, it's like, oh, that's a relief. I got past that. I got over that. I made it through that. So change is painful only until you start. Start. If it's something that you want to start and you're hesitant about it, go ahead and start. Don't think about it. Just do it. And just do it. And all that painful, all that stuff that you're thinking about could happen, might happen, just might not happen. It could happen for the better. It might be for the best that you did. Change. So consider it. If you scared to step out there on that ledge, just ask God, if I fall, Lord, just be here to pick me up. Be my safe cushion to pick me up. And the last one, your environment shapes you more than motivation. If you are around people that has a war is me attitude. My grandma used to say, if you lay with dogs, you're gonna get fleas. If that dog got fleas, they're gonna get on you. So if you around people that do not motivate you, don't move you to be better than what you are, then you might need to shift. You might to think about changing the people and the environment that you're in. Because when the group of people that I'm with, I like to be motivated. You know, they motivate me from the way they live. And that makes me want to live a better life. That makes me want to be a more righteous person, not a self righteous person, but a righteous person. That makes me want to tighten my relationship up with God. That makes me want to move further. So when they move, I move, and it's just like that. It's just like being in a grocery line. A person got a whole, the line, you at the end of the line, and you don't never think you get. I stopped getting agitated and upset when I was in lines of anywhere, because wherever you are, you're gonna have to wait. If you're at the airport, you're at the bus station, wherever you are, you're going to have to wait. You're gonna have to wait. And when I was reading this, your environment shapes you more than your motivation. And when you're in line at a grocery store, just watch it. Don't be patting your feet and talking about, oh, they need to open up another register. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Just stand there and watch when that person who's at the front of that line, when they finish bagging up their grocery and paying for their grocery, the next person might not have but two or three items. She gone. Then the next person, they might have a little cart full, but the cashier is so good, she getting them all out. And so every time they move up, you move up. That's the way I put that in my mind. So I don't get angry now when I'm at a drive-through, when I'm in Walmart, when I'm in Target, when I'm in Publix. I don't get aggravated in. Well, there don't be that many lines in Target no more. So y'all don't tell nobody I was in Target. But anyway, your environment shapes you. The people that surround, the people that you surround yourself with, if they're not motivating you in some sort of way, then you don't need to be around those people. You do not need to be around those people, because if all they do is put people down and drag people, just imagine what they do when you is not around. If you're in an environment where all they do is just talk about people all the time, don't get misconstrued and don't think that they don't talk about you when you leave. Don't think they don't talk about you when you leave. So these the things that I said this morning. Stop expecting people to think like you. Walk away the first time you feel disrespected. Fix your sleep before fixing your life. Don't argue with people who enjoy chaos. Most problems shrink once you stop reacting fast. You ruin your peace by explaining too much. Your habits are more honest than your intention. If it drains you, it's already a warning. People treat you based on what you allow. Your future depends on what you do daily. Not everybody deserves access to you. Silence exposes truth better than confrontation. If you don't choose your priorities, someone else will. Comfort is the biggest enemy of growth. Change is painful only until you start. Your environment shapes you more than motivates you. When you are around people, good morning, I'm her beauty. When you are around people that motivates you, it changes you. It's not that you're trying to live up to anyone's expectations. It's not that you're envious or jealous or you trying to keep up with anybody. You being around people that motivate you to do better, to be better, because people that motivate, they are always showing you there is something better to life than what you're living. And most of the time, people see something in you before you see it in yourself. People see the potential that you have. People can recognize you have greatness in you. However, when you've been around people so much and so long that don't motivate you, that don't uplift you, don't have kind words to say about nothing or nobody, that's not motivating. You just stay stuck like they are. And I don't be around people that's stuck because I want to move. When they move, I'm gonna move too. Not to be a part of anything because the potential that the potential that they see in me, I want to see that same. I want them to they motivate me to the point to I'm not trying to live up to their expectations. I want to start seeing what they see in me. And God already puts it in us and he gives us a glimpse of our greatness only when we have that closeness with him, when we have that relationship with him, when we are plugged into him, and when we know we cannot do anything on our own, that everything happens is the will of God. However, it happens, that was God's will. Nothing happens without the will of God. And as soon as we understand that, when people talking about you, when people treating you a certain way. That could be something God has in motion. Don't blame everything on Satan, because sometimes God will start putting things in motion because he see further than we see. He know what we don't know. He see what we don't see. And he is in rooms where people are calling your name. Some good, some not so good, some bad even. And see, when God wants you to get away from a situation, he start allowing things to happen. Things start not going the way that it always be. Things start key. And you'll be understanding why. However, if you just stop and be still, God, excuse me, God will show you. God will start showing you things. God will start showing you just who people are. They could tell you, this, but God will say, it ain't that. It ain't that. Sometimes you just have to be quiet, be still. Even when you want to run your mouth, even when you want to bust somebody head over to the white meat, don't do it. Even when if you got to sit on your hands or put your hand over your mouth, don't do it and don't say it. Don't do it and don't say it. Don't do it and don't say it. Because soon and very soon, people show you just who they are. But you gotta be what? You gotta be brutally. You gotta be brutally honest with yourself. And sometimes we're afraid to be honest with ourselves. You gotta be honest because you know when something ain't right, but you gonna go with it anyway. I have a little situation. I know it ain't right, but I like it. I like it, but I know it's not right. I know it's not right. And it's gonna it's not really gonna hurt to change. It's not gonna really hurt to stop. But my relationship with God is more important than my relationship or this thing that I want, that I think that I need. Because God is showing me that the thing that I think I need is not the things that I need. Because he says in his word, I will supply all you need. And God ain't let me down yet. God ain't let me down yet. So when you know, you know. And when you know better, you do better. So today is a big day for me, y'all. It's Wednesday. And it's family prayer night at my church. And y'all, I got my daughter to go with me. She's a member of a different church, and my daughter promised she would never come to my church, but I praise God from whom all blessings flow. That my daughter is coming to this the second time she coming. The first time she went was the wrong night. And I had to pray and ask God because I told her I'd never ask her to come back to church with me again. But I had to pray and ask God for the right for the right time to ask her. And when she asked me about, well, how was church? And I say, well, speaking of church, and she said, no. I said, well, I haven't asked you. And she said, no. I said, okay, look, that was the wrong night. I said, if you come this time, I'll never ask you again. When I'm gonna come, I said, no, if you're gonna come with that attitude, don't come. Just don't come. So I just changed the subject. I changed the subject. And we started talking, and then she say, okay, mom, I'm gonna come. But don't ask me to come to church with you. But you know I'm gonna ask her again. I know, I don't. What I'm expecting from tonight at family prayer, because whenever my pastor always say something, it always come to pass. And families are in trouble right now. Families are in trouble right now. We got parents and children going at each other, sisters and brothers going at each other. Families are not like how families used to be. With when I was growing up as a little girl. Families don't even like to help each other now. Families rather help a stranger than to help families and help each other. So we're having family prayer tonight, and that's a big thing for me that she's going, and I am over the moon excited. Uh, and I pray that she gets something, that we get something, that I get something, that we can get our family back where we need to be, because we are all we have now. My mom is gone, my dad is gone, so it's just us. It's just us. And it would behoove me not to be the glue to bring this family back together, to make us be oneness, that we be united. So that's what I had for today. That was just on my mind this morning. And I thought that I would share it. And I thank each and every person that's here this morning. I thank you for being here. I thank the people that, came, popped in and then popped out and came back. I thank you for that as well, because, we are living in tumultuous times right now. We are living in terrible, terrible times. And, we are all we got. We got to stop biting. We got to stop fighting each other. We got to find some common ground because united we stand, divided we gonna fall. So just for the day, think of something pleasant. Think of something positive. You know, think on some of the things that I just said by being brutally honest with yourself. Sometimes being honest with yourself can wake you up, it can shake you, it can move you into a better position in life. You know the things that you shouldn't be doing, and you think you're happy with it, and then you think it's helping you, but at the end of the day, it's not. It is not. If you can't rely on nobody, rely on God. And if you're not if you don't have that close relationship with God, take it from me, please. Get a relationship with God. I ain't saying everything gonna be, I ain't gonna say what they what they say in church all the time. When I changed my life and went to God, I looked at my hands, they was new. I looked at my feet, they were too. No, what's going to be new, you're going to start thinking different. And when you start thinking different, you're going to start feeling different. And when you start feeling different, you're going to start acting different. So then when you look at your hands, they going to look new because they ain't touching what they don't need to be touching. And your feet ain't going to take you where you don't need to be going. And your talk is going to be different. Your way of looking at things are going to be different. And that peace that surpasses all understanding, you're going to have it. You're going to have so much peace, even within the midst of, you're going to have peace. And you ain't going to understand why I ain't falling apart. Why I'm feeling, why I'm not going crazy. Because that's the peace that God has given you, even in the midst of, and joy, unspeakable joy, even in the midst of, even when things are not going right, you still have that joy. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it, and the world just damn sure can't take it away. That's the type of arrange your thinking, arrange your heart posture, arrange your thoughts differently. And then there's some people that you don't need to be around no more. There's some people when they plug in, it'd be saying SS denied. And when you start hanging around people that's going somewhere, that's living a different life, it motivates you to want to do better. Not because of them, but because they showed you something different in life. Because they showed you something different in life. And I thank God for the people that's in my life because they always motivate me. And when I slip a little bit, when I slip, they always, you know, yanking me back. You know you ain't right. You know you ain't right. And when if one particular person tell me, you need to stop because you know that ain't right. You know it ain't right. And I know it don't be right. Then I have to shake it off and I have to sit in time. I have to put myself in time out. I have to sit myself in time out. And when I sit myself in time out and I be brutally honest with myself, then I have to go back and rectify that. So in the meantime and in between time, if you is something in your life that needs to be changed, change it. Only you can change. Nothing changes, nothing changes. And you have to be the change that you want. You can talk about change, but until you change, nothing is going to happen. So in the meantime, in the between time, I ain't been in the streets a lot lately, but it might start to get juicy up in these streets in a little while. So whenever you do see me, holler at me. And I holler back. Peace out, deuces, and I gotta get my day started. Holler, holler back.